Oh shit. Hold on.
Spending his free time camping, fishing, and hunting, this creator regularly heads into the outdoors with friends. But being out in remote areas can also lead to encounters you simply aren't prepared for. In the early hours of the morning, he and his friends headed out onto the lake in their boat to go bow hunting. But while they were out on the water, they suddenly noticed something they couldn't explain. A woman was standing in the lake by herself. The footage was brief, but after it began circulating online, questions quickly followed. Some believed she could have been a missing woman, so the creator later shared an update explaining exactly what happened.
A lot of people have been asking about the lady in the lake. Several people asked if it was in Arkansas or Kansas, either or. I did reply back to them because they were concerned that it might have been a woman that went missing with her child. I did let them know that it wasn't out there. So yeah, we were out there that night. We were out bow fishing. We had already went by that place and we were headed back to the bow ramp. And that's when we noticed that that woman was in the lake. We didn't notice anybody else with her. She didn't have a dog or anything. And a lot of people were asking, wondering if we reached out to her and, make sure she was okay. And yes, we did. It's not every day that you go to the lake and see a woman out there in the middle of nowhere, pitch dark. So we did ask her if she was okay, if she needed any help. But she never replied back to us. She never acknowledged us, anything. All she did was just slowly turned away from us. After, a couple tries of trying to get her attention, she just kept looking away. We just left her alone. So yeah, we tried to help her out, but we didn't notice, if maybe they were out there camping. We didn't see a campsite, no campfires, anything like that. Unless there was somebody else with her and they were just hanging out in the woods, we didn't see them. But right there, close by, there was absolutely nobody with her.
The group called out to her asking if she needed help, but she didn't respond. She simply remained there. They called out multiple times, but there was still no answer. There was also no sign of a nearby campsite or anyone else around her. The situation became increasingly unsettling. But after spending around 10 minutes calling out with no response, the group decided there wasn't much more they could do. They eventually left the area, still unsure about what they had witnessed and whether there was anything else they could have done. Christina embarked on a backpacking trip deep into the wilderness of California with a friend, expecting weeks of hiking, camping, and exploring the outdoors. But around a week into their trip, they experienced what would become one of the most frightening moments of their entire journey.
The scariest moment happened about 1 week or so into our trip. We had been camping, just the two of us, me and my friend who is a female. We had been hiking for like 12 hours that day. We were really tired, so we went to go get a campsite, and I was really tired. I was kind of pushing my friend to like settle down and maybe like find our camp a little bit earlier that day. So we kind of camped at a place that was like the side of the trail. Like there wasn't anyone else there. We had camped pretty much all on our own, but it was on the side of the trail, so we were a little bit exposed to the other people who were passing us on the trail. So we both had separate tents. We would set up our tents right next to each other, so we were within kind of like talking distance, but we weren't actually in the same tent. We go to sleep, everything is going just fine for the majority of the night, and then at, I want to say around 5 o'clock in the morning, I see a light outside my tent. So like I assumed it was my friend, and so I kind of like just wait and listen, and I hear footsteps with the light, and you know, maybe my friend's just going pee outside, like maybe I'm freaking out for no reason. So then the footsteps start slowly walking around my tent with the light shining into my tent. So I'm like, okay, like there has to be like a logical explanation for this, like trying to stay sane. And later I was talking to my friend, she said she was doing the exact same thing in her tent, like hoping that it was me walking around and trying not to freak out that she was about to get murdered. It was probably a few minutes, but it felt like a half hour. Like it felt so long. I was so frightened.
After a long day on the trail, all they wanted was somewhere to set up camp and finally get some rest. With limited space available, they decided to set up close to the trail. But at around 5 a.m., everything changed. Christina and her friend were inside their separate tents when they began hearing footsteps nearby. Someone was outside. Christina opened her tent and quickly realized the footsteps weren't just in her head. Someone really was moving around their camp.
Finally, like I just can't take it any longer. I'm just sitting in my tent, like getting freaked out, and I decide to unzip my tent. Like I'm just gonna face whatever this is head on. So I unzip my tent. There is pretty much my worst fears realized. There is a man I do not know standing outside of my tent, staring at me. In the meantime, my friend is sitting in her tent, and she hears the tent unzip from me unzipping it, and she thinks that he's unzipping my tent trying to get in. So I'm like, who are you? And he says, I'm Jack. And I say, okay, like, why are you here? Silent. He doesn't say anything. So Jack kind of stares at me, and he just gives me like the creepiest look. I say like, well, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, we're sleeping here, you know? Trying to act aggressive still, even though I'm like terrified in the meantime, and I'm like holding my tent stakes, like ready to stab him. You know, he kind of just seemed like he was like in a daze. Like he just said, oh, I thought this was my friend's tent. But like he had his backpack on. Like even, why would he think this random tent on the side of the trail is his friend's tent? And even if he did, why would he try to get into it at 5 a.m. in the morning and creepily walk slowly around all the tents in the meantime? So I was like, yeah, your friends aren't here. And then I zipped up my tent and then hid in my sleeping bag and hoped that he would go away. So then I heard the footsteps slowly walking away from the tent, and I figured like, okay, I'm gonna be safe.
She eventually settled back down, but the situation became even more unsettling the following morning. The man they'd noticed during the night was still there. He was asleep behind their tents, with no tent or shelter of his own, lying directly on the hard trail.
So then I wake up the next morning and I talk to my friend, and I'm like, oh my god, I unzip her tent. I was like, oh my god, like what happened last night? Like that was so scary. We swapped stories and we thought we were safe. We look behind our tent and Jack is sleeping on the ground behind our tent. He didn't even set up his tent. He's just sleeping on the ground behind our tent. So we kind of go up to him thinking like maybe it was all some big misunderstanding this whole time. And we say like, what are you doing? Were you looking for your friends? He goes, ha ha ha. Yeah, looking for my friends. Gets his backpack on and keeps walking down the trail. And then that day we hiked out off the John Muir Trail, and we hiked to a convenience store in Independence, California. And I bought a knife that was bigger than my head to carry on me in my tent after that moment. And while we never did see Jack again, that story has pretty much won best creepy story of the wilderness, like anytime I tell it to anyone. So it's my go-to spooky campfire story.
The pair were left deeply unsettled, unsure of who he was or what he wanted. And when you're deep in the wilderness, sharing a remote campsite with someone you don't know, you can never be completely sure of their intentions. For Christina and her friend, staying there was no longer something they could feel comfortable with. Christoph is no stranger to the outdoors, regularly spending his free time biking through remote trails and camping in nature. But during one bike ride through the woods, his adventure suddenly turned into something completely different. A rescue mission.
Oh shit. Hold on. Stay down. No, take it easy, hold on. Calm down. That's alright, calm down. What's your name?
Bo.
What's your name, buddy? Bo, listen. What did you hurt?
Everything.
Everything. Can you feel any broken bones somewhere?
No, but I can't move.
You can't move? Okay. Okay, cool. Hold on, I'm gonna call help, yeah? I'm gonna put the bike around here. Hold on. Cause I don't want anyone to ride you over.
I need to sit down.
Take down, calm down. You'll be okay, mate. You'll be alright. I'm gonna put the bike upside down, yeah? And I'm gonna call help, yeah?
I haven't had a drink all day.
Oh, I don't have any drink with me, sorry, mate. I'm calling help, yeah?
At the bottom, we're almost at the bottom. Could you take me down?
You
Take me down to the bottom, please.
you wanna go down?
Yeah.
I can't lift you up. Don't wanna lift you up.
Yeah. Can you tell them to bring a drink?
Yes, I will let them know.
While riding through the trails, Christoph suddenly heard a young boy named Bo screaming for help and saying he was in pain. Christoph immediately stopped and approached him, reassuring him while calling for emergency assistance in the area. Bo was visibly distressed, crying and clearly in pain as Christoph stayed with him and tried to keep him calm.
Stay here as well.
Alex speaking.
Hello, I've found a boy crashed on the top of the Zula outpost.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Tell me what's his injuries?
he say he can't move. He's sitting, but he say he can't move. He's yelling, and he desperately needs something to drink. Just he's a bit in shock right now.
Okay, no worries at all. Top of Zula Lodge, yeah?
Yeah, top of Zula outpost. Yeah.
If you just stay there, I'll get someone to you now. Okay?
All right, cool. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. They coming. I told them about the water, mate. They coming. Listen, you'll be fine, mate. I've crashed many times. It hurts.
No, it is the worst cruise I've ever had.
Yeah, but you're sitting, mate. Your back is okay. You want to lay down?
It hurts so much.
Do you want to lay down? Well, you want to help me lay? I'm gonna hold your head if you want. Hold on. I'm holding this. I'm holding your helmet. Just relax. Lie down. You don't want to. You need to relax. Yeah. I'm not gonna. Don't touch your helmet. Just leave it like it is right now. Yeah. They're gonna be here in a minute. They know where are we. I told them about the water. You'll be fine. Yeah. Is your name Bo?
Yeah, my name's Bo.
Bo.
Eventually, a first responder arrived and took over the situation. Christoph had simply been riding through the trails when he came across someone who desperately needed help. And the encounter serves as a reminder of just how vulnerable you can be when you're alone, deep in the wilderness, miles from anyone else. Luckily for Bo, Christoph happened to be on that trail at exactly the right time. Solo camping deep in the woods with his dog Fiona is something old Southern Pine is no stranger to. He's known for documenting his outdoor adventures, with viewers following along to see what each trip brings. But during one trip back in 2024, things became so unsettling that he made a decision he rarely would. He abandoned his camp. With Fiona by his side, the plan was simple. Head deep into the woods, set up camp, and spend another night surrounded by nature.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, Southern Pine. Thanks for joining us on another adventure. Today we are hammock camping in a Minnesota state forest, and for those of you guys who have watched the channel before, you guys know that anytime I can go hammock camping, I'm a happy man. We had a brand new hammock here from One Wind Outdoors and a new tarp from Unigear. Those both went up nicely. We've just got the tarp thrown back over here. I've already got it rigged up so that as soon as we get ready for bed, we can just guy it out, take it down, and call it good.
After getting everything set up, he gathered firewood and prepared some food. At first, everything seemed completely normal. But once darkness covered the forest, the atmosphere changed.
Yeah, stay.
Suddenly, noises began echoing through the woods, disturbing both him and Fiona. The sounds were unsettling enough to put him immediately on edge. Then he realized what he was hearing. Coyotes. Knowing the situation had become too risky, especially with Fiona beside him, he made the decision to pack up.
All right, y'all, here's the situation. Fiona got some burrs all through her hair around her eyes, got them into her eyes, and was actually poking and hurting her in the eye. So I was able to get the burrs out that were actually in her eye, but I'm not equipped out here to be able to get them out from around her eyes. So as we're packing up to get home, coyotes started sounding off, like very, very close to us, 2 packs, one on either side of us. So I am hiking out right now, just carrying Fiona in my camera bag so that I can get her safely locked into the truck. Then I'm gonna hike it back in here to pack up the rest of the stuff. All right, y'all, we have Fiona back in the truck. We are hiking back out to get our stuff. You see the light that I left on back up there for us at camp. I'm sorry that we couldn't get this all together for you guys and create a nice overnight trip, but anybody who's watched this channel for any amount of time knows that that dog's well-being means more to me than my own. We're out here just to have a good time, so if I'm not able to keep her comfortable, and while the burrs touching her eyes, I was at least get those off so there wasn't going to be any kind of damage to her eyes or anything. There's still quite a bit of burrs in around her face that I'm just not equipped to be able to take care of out here. So they're clearly going to be bugging her. I've got her safely in the truck. We're going to get packed up now and get out of here.
He grabbed his dog, got her safely to the car, and then returned to collect the rest of his equipment. Luckily, he made it out safely. But being surrounded by not 1, but 2 packs of coyotes made staying at the campsite far too dangerous. Small Plots is a growing channel run by Kevin, who spends much of his free time camping outdoors and pushing himself with increasingly challenging stealth camps. In a recent video, Kevin decided to take things further by attempting to camp overnight beneath an urban highway. From the beginning, the location came with obvious risks, and being surrounded by woodland and an urban area made the situation even more unsettling.
I think I just saw somebody scoping me out when I was coming in here. Kind of was like maybe trying to follow me a little bit. That was kind of weird. But I walked through the city, under the bridge, gracefully down into this small forest. You're watching Small Plots with Kevin. I'm Kevin. I'm gonna look around here, see if I'm sharing this forest with anybody, and we'll get to camping. This place is kind of weird. Might be tough to tell. Clearly, usually a swamp right here. I guess it's dry enough to where it's not a swamp, but it's filled with old remnants of structures, concrete, railroad ties, garbage. Now, I left my pack where I came in and walked in this direction. I don't think I'm gonna camp in this direction. Way too close to people's homes, and there's a trail right there that I'm pretty sure they could just see me if they looked. Something maybe weird, I don't really know. Right before I walked over here, it sounded like somebody threw something at me. Like it was like a dunk, 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 dunk. And I looked at it, and it was like one of those green walnut nuts that fall and make that sound. But the weird thing about that is there was no other such nuts around. So either they're just a popular treat in this forest and they're cleaned up quickly, or somebody found that, maybe that kid that saw me come in, and threw it down here.
Kevin spent some time exploring the area, searching for somewhere he could safely settle down for the night. But he soon realized he wasn't completely alone. Someone appeared to be nearby, watching him from within the area. Despite this, Kevin continued searching until he found a spot that felt like the safest option. He began setting up camp, but his nerves remained high after noticing just how many people were around the surrounding woods.
I'm seeing so many people. It's hard to get them on camera because they just like walk by and I see them for a second through the trees. But I do have to keep a super low profile. No fires tonight. Gotta keep my lights low, my voice low. Just be low. Kind of unfortunate because I didn't bring a chair, so I'm gonna be standing up. So that's not very low, but...
As darkness swept across the forest, the atmosphere changed completely. Kevin tried to settle down for the night, but the uneasy feeling never disappeared. Then strange noises began echoing around him.
Like a chain jangling on it. Something like jangling and walking. I still hear something over there. I don't hear the jangling, but I hear something over there.
With no idea what was making them, Kevin became increasingly uncomfortable and struggled to sleep. He barely got any rest that night, and the following morning he explained more about what had happened.
I slept for about 3 hours, and I woke up to maybe one of the most unsettling sounds I've ever heard while sleeping in an urban forest, and that is, it sounded like the best I can describe is like a dog with like a collar getting near my tent. Dude, what the hell is that? I don't know if that's what it was. It could have been a guy with keys in his pockets. I don't know. That went on for 10 minutes probably. It was like right over here. Like I just heard like I don't know, the sound of an animal with like a collar. Like it's just that sound. I don't know. It's just sound. It's pretty distinct. You know, wild animals don't have metal on them, so there's that. No clue. But it was definitely like really close to the tent. Like I want to say like right over here, like within 10 feet of the tent probably. I had my knife out. I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting there like just like.
Eventually, Kevin packed everything away and left the area, describing the sounds as some of the most unsettling he'd ever heard. After that experience, he wasn't willing to risk spending another night in those woods. The wilderness can be beautiful, but these encounters show just how quickly a peaceful trip can turn into something completely unexpected. From wildlife and strangers to situations nobody could have planned for, sometimes the safest decision is knowing when it's time to leave. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.